Hello everyone, welcome to your favorite program, Real Estate 101. And of course, I am your favorite real estate boss lady, Tolulopebu Kolaike, AMD of Andromeda Homes Limited. Today I'm so excited because we'll be concluding on our three-part series on surveys in the real estate industry. In the previous episodes, we talked about how the various types of surveys we have. We talked about the cadastral survey, topography survey, as-built survey, geodetic survey, and many other survey types. And also in our last series, we talked about how to identify an original survey, the features to watch out for to identify with an original survey. Today, like I told you earlier, I'm delighted to share with you information on topography survey and of course as-built survey. So if you haven't watched our last two episodes, please make sure to watch it because it will give you a fairer understanding of what we're talking about today. Also, I'd like you to like our page, follow us, share, and of course, click on the notification button right on your screen. This will help you to get timely notification of our next content. Recall that last episodes we explained to you what an as-built survey is. But for the benefit of those of you who are just joining us, I'm going to break it down once again. Now, an as-built survey is a drawing that showcases the measurements of a building project after it has been completed. That is what an as-built survey is talking about. And today I'm going to shed more light on it. Now, in the last 3 weeks or 4, we heard that the Lagos State government is asking people that they've been pardoned for amnesty to come and conduct their as-built survey so as to get their approvals. This usually happens when you are finished building and you have failed to do the right thing. So there is what we call the as-built survey, which will now show the house conformity. It looks at the house not just from the surface of the earth, it also takes it from through satellite view to check into the earth or upper sky to see how it conforms on ground. So that's what we call an as-built survey. Now, if you look at it now, most people, they build houses without necessarily doing the necessary documentation. Unfortunately, we see a lot of development going on in Lagos State, whereby the Lagos State government is clamping down on so many of such projects, and as such, many demolitions are going up and down, and people are crying and they are feeling frustrated. I'd like to bring this home quickly. We, as a country in Nigeria, is a developing country. Now, when we compare ourselves to the Western counterparts, we observe that these kinds of things cannot be done. I recall that I had some meetings with some German nationals who were interested in having an investment exercise here with us in Nigeria. And while we were talking about approvals, when to start the building project, the approvals that will be in between. And we were talking about somebody was saying that within 6 months, they can get some approvals. And in fact, as they're building, that they can get even the approvals even while building. And the German national said this would even take them as long as 2 years, 3 years before they get the necessary approvals. And at every stage that they are building, there is always a monitoring body that comes there to check on the structural, the mechanical, and of course on the electrical. These are areas that they consider. Now, when we consider the as-built survey, these are challenges that we need to face in our society. In the last 2 or 3 weeks, I saw a newspaper review saying that 80% of houses in Lekki has no approval. Now again, there was also another caption that is giving them 90 days of amnesty for them to get their approvals. These approvals cannot be done except they have their surveys. Now, for those of them who have built without having, first of all, the survey, they have to do what we call the as-built survey, after which it will be registered in the appropriate lands registry. Then they will now start the process of taking their architectural designs of their buildings along with the as-built survey to go to the approval office. Now, I'll have you know that in spite of this amnesty opened out to individuals who have failed to do the right thing, I want you to know that those whose buildings does not conform with the right approval, with the right set standards, would not be given approval. I have this as a fact because I talk closely to people in the lands registry and the town planning officer regularly. And when I spoke to them about such, they told me that for some buildings that are not properly standard, they would not also be issued the approval. Now, you're wondering who is going to do your As-Built survey. Of course, it's also going to be the surveyor that does that. And of course, here we at Andromeda Homes Limited, like I always tell you, we're not just a real estate firm selling our own properties. We also work on your documentation because we have adequate team members who are going to be able to do your documentation to the teeth. So we are here to support you. If you have documentation issues and you're trying to do your As-Built survey and you want to get your approvals on your housing, you want to do everything, you can always reach out to us. This is what we're here for. Yeah, on a final note, we'll be talking about the topography survey. Now, what is topography survey? Topography survey is a detailed map and a plan showcasing the features of the land itself. We're talking about the soil texture. We're talking about the soil texture. We're talking about the area which it is located. That is what a topography survey is all about. Now, why the importance in conducting a topography survey? It is very important to conduct this, especially when you are going to build stories. If you're going to build a story building, that is a duplex or 2 stories or even more story of buildings, you need to know the kind of soil we are talking about. Now, I'll take for example, when you're going towards the Third Mainland Bridge, where we call the Lagos State government project called the Ilubirin. If you recall, that was particularly the lagoon actually. That land was reclaimed. It was sandfilled over a period of I think 1 year or 2, and it was left alone for another 1 or 2 years for the soil to come together properly. And before they started building, they did what we call piling. Piling means when you see heavy duty machineries, instilling concrete into the soil. They piled it up before they deployed that building. Now, if you look at it, that is a reclaimed land. You reclaim a property. After reclaiming the property, you give it some time for the land to be solidified before going into the building project. When they reclaimed it now, when they want to start the building project, they already have the architectural designs of what they were going in for. They already know the kind of buildings that they are trying to build. They already know the numbers of stories they're working on. And as such, they had to make sure that they prepared the soil. They prepared the soil by piling so that it can accommodate that building. Now, the twin building, like I was talking about in Ikoyi, collapsed by itself, even while the building was still going on. This goes to show that certain things were not done right. Now, you have a building that was, according to the newspapers, we heard that 17 stories was what was approved. And later on, you turned it around and you wanted to have 22 stories instead of 17. The first thing you should consider is the topography of the soil. What sort of reinforcement was put down into the soil to ensure that the reinforcements can actually carry 22 stories. These are the things that we're talking about. That's what you should know about topography. It's very, very crucial that you have this, especially when you're gunning for a story or more. You need to make sure that you have your topography survey. Now, when the incident of this twin building collapse happened, so many buildings around that place was also checked by the Lagos State government to ensure that they contain this, because there is no way you have a collapse of a 17 or 22 story building in an area. It's going to shake the soil of that ground. The ground will be shaking there. So it goes to show that any house that is built on a very weak foundation may definitely not pass that test, and also will be sealed and confiscated by the state government. As-Built survey and topography survey is very important. So those of you who have already built your buildings without your necessary documentation, As-Built survey is important. So also is topography important for those of you who are about to embark on your projects. Now, if you are one of those people who have been affected, who don't have your documentations and your approval, this is where Andromeda Homes comes in. Now, if you found this video helpful, please don't forget to give it a thumbs up. We would like to hear from you, comments, and also your questions and answer. And please do not forget to share with your friends and family. Thank you so much for watching. I hope we've been able to earn the privilege of your time. This remains Real Estate 101. Bye.